I'm so glad you're with us on the Clank Howard Show, where it's all about you and your wallet. I hope you learn ideas from me so that you can save more, spend less, and don't let anyone ever rip you off. Speaking of rip-offs, today's Clarkrageous moment involves Yahoo, 2 different ways in what you need to know about protecting your security, even if you were not a Yahoo Mail user. That's coming up in just 20 minutes. And a half hour from now, the recall of the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 is the real deal now. The phone is dead. What does it mean to you with any smartphone? What do you need to know about the batteries? There's some stuff you need to do to keep yourself and your family safe with any cell phone. Right now, I want to talk about court ruling that's one of those obscure Washington things that you wonder, what does it have to do with you at all? Well, there's an agency that grew out of the financial scandals of last decade that has done an outstanding job. It's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And for the first time ever, you have had an advocate when a bank or financial institution has been cheating you. And you are able at cfpb.gov or consumerfinance.gov, either website gets you there. You can go online, very quickly fill out the details of a complaint you have with a financial institution, mortgage company, credit card company, whatever it is, and then you submit that, and it starts a clock running. The financial institution that your beef is with has 30 days to respond and deal with your complaint. Now, consumers are not always right. And you may be complaining about something that is really your responsibility, or you may see things differently than maybe a third party would see them. But what it does in a case where you are, in fact, being ripped off, it gives you a place to turn. I remember taking a call from someone who was in danger of having their house foreclosed, and it was because of errors on the part of the mortgage lender after their loan was sold. And nobody would listen, and the foreclosure was moving forward. And I remember telling this caller to file a complaint at consumerfinance.gov, and believe it or not, it completely reversed the situation. They were able to keep their home, and everything ended up A-OK. Now, not every situation is going to be stark and clear. Others are going to have some fuzziness to them. But by filing a complaint, you're able to make a difference. Where prior to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, banks were above the law and did whatever they wanted, right or wrong. So the banks hate the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And as a result, they have sued to get the thing abolished. And their lackeys in the U.S. Congress are also trying to eliminate the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Well, now the nation's second most important court, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, has said that the structure the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is unconstitutional. The court at the same time said, we don't want this place shut down, but we want it restructured how it's run. And after the election, and however the election plays out, there will be a restructuring of how it works, because right now the director, once appointed by the president, cannot be fired by the president. And the decision of the court, which was, I think, unanimous, was that it was not constitutional for a president to be able to appoint someone and not have them serve at his or, well, maybe her pleasure, that the president has the right to appoint and should have the right to dismiss as well. So we'll see what happens after the election, but the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is alive and open. And if you are having a problem with your credit card company, your bank, you're having a problem with the mortgage company, payday lender, any financial organization you do business with, and they are not responding to your complaint, there's still a cop on the beat. You still have the ability to file a complaint and have that 30-day countdown clock work to your favor. Just because they take your complaint and it starts the countdown clock, it doesn't mean you win. You have to have a situation that is clear enough that it's obvious that they're not behaving themselves at the bank, and whatever documentation you have, which comes to the core of something when you are being an advocate for yourself. When you call into customer no service, make sure you get the name of who you're talking to. Write down what time it was, the date, and paraphrase as well as you can what was said. The bank's recorded the call. You have that kind of documentation, and you file your complaint. The bank's going to know there's a verbal record of what was said or not done that was promised to you. And the more you can document how you have tried to effectively resolve a problem, the more likely your complaint is going to lead to a favorable solution and conclusion for you. Leela's with us on the Clank Howard Show. Hello, Leela. How are you today?
Hi, Clark. Thanks so much for all your great advice.
Well, you were kind to say that, and you're thinking snow.
Yes, I would love to go skiing.
Well, I love to hit the slopes. It is something that is something I've done since I was a kid, and I'm not any good at it, but I've been skiing for as far back as I can remember. How can I be of help with your ski adventures?
Well, I have been going skiing with my two boys since they were young. They're now 21 and 25, and I cannot find a deal anymore. I could go skiing for $1,000 per person, like 3 years ago, and that included airfare, meals, lift ticket, and rentals, and my place that I rented. And now I cannot find that. I mean, I'm trying to find lift tickets now, and they're outrageous.
Oh, like $115 a day, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so welcome to the economic recovery. So the deal is, you know how the top 25% of Americans are doing extremely well right now, even though if the overall average shows people are still having a tough time financially getting ahead. And who skis? Generally, it's people at the higher end of the income scale. So demand for accommodations at ski mountains, for the lift tickets, for equipment rentals, for everything is strong, strong, strong now. And that's why you're seeing such a huge uptick in the prices. So would you like to know some ideas to save money?
I would.
Okay, so
people have invited me to go, so I'm stuck on going the one place. So I can't deviate from the one place I'm going.
Well, you're totally messing up my advice.
I knew it.
Because you know the key to saving money when you're price conscious on skiing, is to ski in Utah.
Oh.
And the reason is if you go to Salt Lake, accommodations are so much cheaper than they are at any traditional ski mountain with the resort kind of lodging that's available. And then from the Salt Lake Valley, you've got 7 mountains that are within a stone's throw, and 9 if you're looking just a little further. So you can ski different places. There are great deals available locally in the Salt Lake Valley on lift tickets for mountains in the Salt Lake area. And so that's the way you roll the prices back of a ski trip. But that's not going to happen for you because your friends have already picked the destination, which is?
Which is Steamboat.
Ah. Steamboat's really in now. It's a much more expensive destination than it was. And it is going to be more difficult to stay there. What time of year do you have to take your boys?
We are going February, I believe.
You're not helping me at all.
I know. I never go in February. And I always am flexible. I always figure out what the best deal is. And this time, other people chose first. So I'm going along with it. So you know what? Next year, I'm going to take your advice. Do you know I've never skied in Utah? I've only skied in Colorado, but I've skied like Breckenridge and lots of different ones in Colorado, but not in Utah. So I'm going to do Utah next year and figure out how to get a deal.
and that will work, but Steamboat is going to be very expensive, and it is going to eat up your budget. If you wait longer to buy lift tickets, you can check sites like Liftopia, which I talked about last ski season, liftopia.com. Wait for deals to come up on tickets. In Denver itself, you can buy tickets for a lot of ski mountains in Colorado cheaper that are geared towards locals, but there's nothing to keep an out-of-towner from buying most of those deals. But the accommodations at Steamboat are going to be extremely pricey. Keep monitoring Airbnb and see if any deals pop up on a place for the week you're looking for in February. But gosh, it is going to be tough, and I don't have a great answer for you on saving money at Steamboat. Bob is with us on the Clank Howard Show. Hello, Bob.
Good day, Clark. Good to talk to you.
Well, great to have you here. You want to talk about the hottest selling computer operating system in America.
And what that'd be, Chromebook related?
That is the Chromebook.
Uh-huh.
In fact, there was just a report that Chromebook is crushing everybody else in the marketplace, crushing Windows computers, crushing the Apple computers, because the Chromebooks are just so much cheaper and they go on the internet in 4 seconds.
Right. Well, I have a bunch of Windows computers, and I access my banks and my credit card and my stock portfolio on there, and I've been listening to you tell people that's not secure enough. Go to a Chromebook with a specific Gmail account, and I'm wondering, is that something pretty critical that I ought to move that direction and buy a $200 Chromebook just to do that?
Well, first of all, you don't have to spend $200. You can buy them either on clearance or refurbs for around $100 or so.
Okay.
And there's a deal I talked about recently on Groupon where a Chromebook, a 15.6-inch screen Chromebook is, I think, $129 for an Acer right now.
Right.
And so it's like buying an insurance policy. Maybe nothing will ever go wrong, but a Chromebook is a way to improve the odds that nothing will go wrong.
Right.
But if do you own your own business?
No, I'm just a retired guy at home.
So the deal is your level of risk is much lower than somebody who owns his or her own business, either a small one or a traditional business. And so for you, it's mainly just a hassle factor. Even if a criminal hacked in and got your money, you have rights under federal law to have that money restored as an individual. So It's really a question of, do you want more security? Do you want more peace about this? And that's why you'd buy a Chromebook. But for anybody who has his or her own business, you got to do your business banking on an isolated, separate computer. Or under the law that governs businesses, you're subject to the loss of the money hacked permanently, which is a big distinction that is so important. Today's Clark-rageous moment is an update on Yahoo. This company just can't seem to do anything right now. If you've not heard, Yahoo had a massive data breach that exposed usernames and passwords for, I think it's 500 million people. And so if you used common passwords with other sites or usernames, then those are exposed as well to the hackers. So you got to scramble to change any related password that may be similar or same as what you used on Yahoo. Now, Yahoo has a wounded brand right now, and people have been heading for the exits. One of the things people do when they migrate to a different email address is they put on forwarding on their email, and I have mine forwarded to a Gmail account. Well, I'm okay. Anybody already has done it, is grandfathered in. You want to try to leave now? They won't let you forward anymore, which is absolutely, completely Clark-rageous. And Yahoo is clawing and scratching to try to keep some value up so that Verizon will spend several $billion of its precious treasure to buy what remains of a limping company. But there's no excuse for Yahoo doing this to people who have been loyal to it through the years. But on the issue of strengthening your passwords, I've talked to you about that in the past with Dashlane and LastPass. One that I keep hearing buzz about is Keeper, Keeper, that is free to use and works for iPhone and Android. Dashlane, it's free on a desktop computer. You pay a fee of $50 a year, $40 a year, something to have it on your phone. Keeper is an alternative that you won't pay for. The idea of these is they will generate fantastic, impossible to remember usernames and passwords that it stores for you so that you keep criminals out of your life because they won't have the info or the ability to crack your usernames and passwords.
A great business needs a stunning website. And with Wix.com, you can do it all by yourself. Wix.com makes it easy to look amazing online, no matter what type of business you're in. Show off your images in a beautiful gallery. Grow your contact list and get all your social media in one place, just the way you want. Your customers are going to love it. So, what are you waiting for? Show the world what you can do. Go to Wix.com and create your stunning website today. It's easy and free.
How not to handle a miscue. Wow. Samsung, what are you thinking? Glad you're with us on the Clank Howard Show, where it's all about you learning ways to keep more of what you make. On the web, we serve you at clark.com, CLARK.com. You got a question, clark.com/ask. You can also ask questions off the air for free. You can talk with a member of Team Clark for nothing. 9 hours a day. You can see how to call in and get your questions answered at clark.com. So Samsung, the world's dominant cell phone producer, in addition to many other products that people make, has made a colossal series of blunders that have really tarnished its brand, at least for now, in the United States. I fly lately twice a week, and every flight I get on, there's the customary announcement during the safety briefings. If you have a Samsung Galaxy Note 7, you must power it off now, have it off the entire flight. You cannot charge it during the flight. You cannot have it hooked up to, the last one I heard was you can't have it hooked up to one of those external battery chargers, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they messed up somehow, did the recall, thought they'd fixed it, and then the things still were catching on fire just at random. And Samsung did not handle this at all well. In fact, I saw one of the tech writers was talking about how now that the phone is discontinued and recalled, it's buried on Samsung's site how you even go forward with getting your money back. What are they thinking, really? I mean, this is a company that makes really cutting-edge devices. And Krista has, what do you have, the S7 Edge?
Yep.
And you've been happy with it?
I love it.
But yours is a model that they're offering to people. You can have this instead of that. But there are people who've loved the Note because it's a much bigger screen than what you have on the Edge. You like the smaller screen phones.
I wouldn't say it's small, though. Don't you think? I mean, to you maybe because you carry your phablets, but, this is a good-sized phone.
Well, so we can talk about what the right size cell phone is to carry. See, what I'm showing you on our radio dial is I'm carrying a Chinese phone that's not sold in the United States that I bought from a seller in Hong Kong that is a 6-inch screen phone that has 5 days battery life. And when all this stuff came up about the batteries, I was like, wow. So these people have gotten 5 days battery life out of this Chinese phone. How is this not going to spontaneously combust on me? It's from the world's number 3 seller phones, a company called Huawei. It's a phone I saw at CES last January, and I just, like 5 days life. I got to have that. But anyway, what you do with the Samsung phone is you go back to, normally you get a Samsung from the cell phone carrier. So you go back to T-Mobile or Sprint or AT&T or Verizon, and they'll give you your money back. Anybody who doesn't know that at the store, they have to give you your money back. And if you bought it from a website, they have to give you your money back. And then you're a free agent to go get whatever you want. If you are an Android kind of person and you don't want to spend the money that you have to for Krista's 7 Edge thing, have you used the Edge? Has that really been helpful to you, having the information that's available on the edge of the phone?
No, it just looks cool.
Well, if you don't care about looking cool, there are a huge number of what are known as flagship Androids that are available at half the money of what the Note was or your 7 Edge is. And they are widely available in the marketplace. But the real sweet spot in the market, the number one selling phone in the country right now is one of the ones that Amazon has available to its Prime members for $69. And it's a perfectly good phone for $69. And they've got a variety of phones now that Amazon is selling that are only available to the Prime members. And what happens is you have ads that appear on the screen when your phone comes live each time, but they're not really intrusive or a nuisance. And they have done a good job with the phones. This time, Amazon did not make the phone. They've just made deals with phone manufacturers to make their phones available in a special Amazon edition that Amazon subsidizes the purchase price of the phones. And there's, in addition to the $69 phone, there's a $99 phone, a $49 phone, a $149, and a $179. Those are pretty good prices. Catherine's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Catherine.
Hi, Clark. How are you today?
Great. Thank you, Catherine. You have an alphabet soup to dig through to try to save for your retirement.
I do. I work for a local community college, and, we contribute to our state retired teacher system. And I'm also, because of my jobs, I also contribute to OPERS, which is Ohio Public Employees, because I hold multiple hats there. But they're now offering either a 457B or a 403B that I can invest into. And I don't know if that's the route that I should go or if I should just continue with my Roth. And because the STRS and the OPERS are pretty good programs.
So the deal in Ohio for any Ohio State employee, and you come under, you're able to pick under the Ohio State plan, right?
Yes.
Is the Ohio Deferred Compensation Plan is the vastly superior choice for people who are teaching in higher education in Ohio.
Okay.
And the reason it's such a good choice, and this is what you always want to look at, is what kind of fees do you have to pay for being in the plan? And a lot of the things available to teachers around the country are awful. They're typically offered by insurance companies with extremely high fees and penalties if you seek to move your money to someone else.
Okay.
And the fees from the insurance company offerings under 403Bs are generally 20 times the cost of being in the Ohio plan that is available to you, the Ohio Deferred Comp.
Okay.
So if you went in it and you went into one of their they're kind of like target date funds.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You pay basically almost zero to have your money invested.
Oh,
no commissions
perfect.
and almost zero ongoing costs.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much for your time.
Sure. And do you know why people who are teachers tend to not go in that plan and tend to go in the others that are the real high-cost ones?
I do not.
Because salespeople will come call on you for the others, and they'll enroll people where people may intend to do it and they don't get around to it, but the salesperson will get them to do it, and then they're paying 20 times the cost.
Yeah, that's not good. I always want to try to avoid those fees as much as possible. I've been listening to you for a while now, and all my other investments are in low-fee structures, so...
Well, that is great for you because it means you're funding your retirement, not the salesperson or insurance company's retirement or fattening their pockets. I want you to know this. If you teach anywhere in this great land of ours, at pretty much any level, know that there are so many snakes in the grass on saving for your retirement that will take terrible advantage of you and eat up your wallet, money that should be fattening your wallet, instead going to them. There is an exception with one provider that is an insurance company called TIA, used to be called TIA-CREF, TIAA.org, that is available in many school system, school district, and college and university level retirement plans. They are the gold standard. And this is fantastic that Ohio has a gold standard plan as well for its state employees. Mike is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Mike.
Hello. I'm Clark.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I have a question for you. I am a business owner, and I was kind of thrown into this. I used to work for a larger company, but then I was doing work on the side, and, well, it got out of hand. And word of mouth got out, and, I guess I do a pretty good job. So the word spread out, and I had to make a choice. There was a little turmoil going on in the company, and so I had to decide, and I just took the plunge. Well, I wasn't really quite prepared, and so I took on a lot of debt doing that, and initially, because I had to take a reduction, in salary and all that stuff, just because it was very small at first. So I accumulated some credit card debt, a lot of it to do with the business because of the reduction in income and stuff, and it was tough. But I'm in my 5th year now, and I'm past that point. I'm at the point where I stash money in the wintertime because my business is seasonal, so I have to save money. My issue is, over the years, this credit card debt, the interest rates have gone up a little bit, and that makes a big difference. So I'm paying more towards the interest than I'm really paying towards the principal.
And how much in credit card debt are you carrying at this point, Mike?
Well, it's about $25,000 total.
All right, that's not a lot to have for having started your own business and being an entrepreneur. If you had said you had taken out a business loan to start your business and you owed $25,000 on it, it wouldn't sound bad at all. But when you say credit card, people immediately think lifestyle. This was not lifestyle. This was a method of borrowing, which is what most entrepreneurs and small business people do to get a business up and going.
Yeah,
so
it was like, I didn't really think about it much. There was, I really didn't have time to think about it. But, there's reduction in income meant, a real struggle in that first 2 years because you have mortgage payments and all that other stuff.
So now you're profitable most of the time.
Yes.
All right. So the debt is really a business expense, and because it is, the interest where it normally would not be deductible is in this case.
Yes, and I do that. I do take that deductible.
And what kind of interest rate are you paying on these cards?
Well, they vary. Some of them are 9%. Some of them are up to 15%. I have a few smaller. You got very small amounts on them, maybe about 1,000. They're like 24%, which is outrageous, but that's what happens.
Do you ever get any balance transfer offers?
I do. I have, through my credit unions and stuff like that, I'll get offers.
Take them. Take them.
Take them.
Yeah, because if you've got...
My question was it smart to put all those in one big lump so I could just knock it out
Well, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really change the math if it's one debt versus 5, 6, 8, 10 credit cards, whatever. What really matters is the carry cost on it. So if you have an opportunity to cut the interest rates on the debt, that's more important than anything where you're reducing it to one simple, easy monthly payment. It's the actual carry is what matters.
Right. And
so
that was my dilemma because, you hear about all these debt relief things.
Yeah, forget all that. Forget all that.
I mean, I've heard the principle of paying to, take your highest interest rate one and start with that way and start paying it down and then go to the next one and the next one.
That's exactly what I recommend people do. But in your case, if your credit union is willing to take like those 20-something% interest rate cards and take them out of the game, and maybe the ones upper teens, your credit standing such, you can take it all down to a lower rate, then you pay those off with the balance transfer checks from your credit union and just set yourself up with a specific plan in mind. How much are you going to have to pay per month over, let's say, I find that up to 30 months, people can really be comfortable with what's involved in wiping out credit card debt.
Yeah, that's my, because I'm 48 years old and I need to start thinking about putting money, towards retirement.
Sure. And you have special ways you can save for retirement that are much more, much larger amounts of money you can put aside than people who don't own their own business. So let's take it one step at a time. And why don't you look at coming up with a 30-month plan to pay off your credit card debt? And then when that's up, you'll be so used to setting that money aside every month. That's money that then from that point forward goes to saving for your own retirement. And so at that point, you'll be 51. When you've got the credit card debt paid off, you just work like a maniac with your business from that point forward, saving for retirement. And you'll get it done even though you're starting maybe later than you wished. And continued success with your business. Here on the Clank Howard Show, you got lots of ways to ask questions, and one of them we call Ask Clark, where you post a question for me at clark.com. Then our producer, Joel, asks your question for you. Joel, who's your first one from?
Clark, we got one from Roger. He says, in August, I rented a car. I recently received a letter saying that the car had a scratch, and it was going to cost $500 to repair. I asked for pictures. I was sent one, and it was hard to make out the car in the picture. How do I know that was the car I rented, and should I request other proof?
Well, I start with, did you have any memory of anything could have happened where you dented the car? A scratch is obviously not going to cost $500. And when you turn a car in, the best thing to do, we all carry smartphones pretty much now, is when you turn in the rental car, you photograph that car outside. Doesn't take but just a minute to do so. And you have those digital images if later you're told you damaged it. In a case like this, it's their word against yours. You write them back and you say, this picture shows nothing. I did not damage the car. I am willing to sign an affidavit that I did not damage the car. And when I turned it in, it was inspected. There was no damage present. Thank you very much. And you wait for their next response. Send that letter by certified mail.
All right, and Jay writes in, Clark, he says, can you give recommendations for saving money on prescriptions by shopping from other countries like Canada?
Boy, this one's become tough. We used to direct people to two organizations that certified the safety of Canadian pharmacies and the legitimacy of Canadian pharmacies. They're both gone, and I don't have a way to ensure that. People who live at the northern borders go to Canada when they're getting brand name drugs and fill their prescriptions across the border. To order online, it is really too difficult for you to know that the source in Canada, which is the most common place Americans would get much cheaper prescription drugs, if the places you might buy from online are legit. But there is a website, goodrx.com, that doesn't buy your drugs from outside the United States, but does offer, in many cases, the best price on brand name medicines. Generics, though, well, there are lots of deals on them right here in the USA.
You know, there's something about TrueCar that a lot of people don't even know. Here it is. Using TrueCar can also help you buy a used car. That's right. In fact, there are over 500,000 pre-owned vehicles available from TrueCar's certified dealers nationwide. So whether you're looking to buy a brand new car or a used car, you can get all the upfront pricing information that empowers you. You can also get discounts off the list price for used cars and a totally better buying experience through the TrueCar Certified Dealer Network. That's where you'll see what other people paid for the car that you want, so you know you're getting a fair price and you can feel confident. And with TrueCar, you connect with a local certified dealer of your choice so you can enjoy a quick, easy buying experience. You can use the TrueCar website or the TrueCar app, so it's easy to find the new or used car that you want. You just take your guaranteed savings certificate to a TrueCar certified dealer, and you'll save money on that used car. And if you're buying new, the average TrueCar user saves $3,279 off MSRP. Over 2 million people have already bought their cars through the TrueCar Certified Dealer Network. So if you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar.com or take it with you by downloading the TrueCar app and enjoy a better car buying experience. Some features are not available in all states. Now, here's an exclusive Podcast One killer clip from How I Got Here, talking with NBC's Tom Brokaw.
So they pressed and pressed and pressed, and then they came and said, you've got to move, and you've got to go to the White House, because it's the beginning of Watergate, and Dan Rather's got a big leg up, and we need somebody to go in and compete against him. What I didn't know until later is that when I got to the White House, some of the fusty old-timers in there wrote a letter to the president of NBC News saying, you can't assign some kid from California to the White House in this big story. And this is an outrage.
Download new episodes now on the Podcast One app or subscribe at iTunes and PodcastOne.com.
Glad you're with us on the Clank Howard Show, where it's all about you learning ways to keep more of what you make. Coming up in a half hour, the breaches of medical offices, medical practices, hospitals, of their medical records on you just go on and on. I have an update for you on what you need to be aware of and what you need to do, and more importantly, what you should not do with the lack of proper security on medical records so that you avoid as much as possible real harm to yourself. Our web address, clark.com. When you have a question, clark.com/ask. And I have amazing news. The very stubborn Merrill Lynch, the big dog of the full commission stockbrokerage houses, has had to end commissions on retirement accounts. Because Merrill Lynch, is with new rules coming in play, where you have to put your customers' interests first. Merrill Lynch had no way to get that done in people's retirement accounts. This is a very important thing you need to be aware of when you use a full commission broker like Merrill Lynch or Smith Barney or any Morgan Stanley, any of the full commission houses, is that they are not working for you. They are sales organizations. They are marketing organizations, and their structure is set up to sell you stuff that gets the salespeople that are referred to usually as brokers or whatever, that gets the salesperson higher commissions, and they have lists that the firms have them push that are products, investments that are not going to be the ones that are the best for you. They're the ones that make the full commission brokerage house more money. So what got exposed with the full commission stockbrokers like Merrill Lynch is they couldn't make it work and put you first. And so they're having to reorient their business. Now, the interesting thing, Merrill Lynch is going to have a split personality. If you go to Merrill Lynch for your retirement account, they will be putting you first. If you go to Merrill Lynch for investment accounts, they're going to put themselves first and may put you in stuff that's bad for you. So the question is, why do they even do business that way? The odd thing today is that when you're saving for your future, investing for your future, investing for retirement, there's never been a bigger gap between the many players offering very low costs on investing and then the ones that offer very high costs, like the full commission stockbrokers or the insurance companies. So they're done with commissions on part of their stuff. The question is, why are they still doing the commission thing that hurts you on their other stuff? One of the interesting things at Merrill Lynch is it's so expensive to do business with them that people with smaller accounts, less than a few $1,000,000, which in their world, that's a smaller account, will pay more under the new system than under the old. Which brings up the question, why would you be with a full commission house anyway? You better be with somebody who is so brilliant and has done such a good job for you, and you trust him or her so completely that you would want to be at a full commission house like Merrill Lynch. Otherwise, you should go somewhere else where the costs are much lower. As an example, Charles Schwab just cut the fees on some of its funds to virtually zero. Their funds, known as ETFs or exchange-traded funds, are so inexpensive, so very, very dirt cheap, that the difference could not be greater between you putting money into funds there versus you putting money in funds at a full commission house like Merrill Lynch. So it's your choice. It's your investments. It's your retirement. There are a lot of people that are growing really quickly, like Vanguard, that they're growing so quickly because people are starting to understand more and more that expenses matter and somebody being there for you matters. You think about the full commission places, you're getting the worst of both worlds. Extremely high expenses, and they're not even there culturally working in your best interests. Chuck is with us on the Clank Howard Show. Hello, Chuck.
Hello. It's an honor to speak to you. I've been listening to you for 18 years, and It's great to finally talk to you.
Well, it's great to have you here. So you have an obscure question for me that is something really great that's starting to happen.
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old son with autism, and I have been saving all along for him in 529 plans, and I even have an obscure Coverdell ESA plan for him. And now that he's 7, we're not 100% sure that he's going to be able to go to college due to the autism. And so now that these 529 ABLE accounts are in existence, I feel like that would probably be a better place to put money instead of continuing to fund the education accounts. But it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of information out there yet about the accounts. I know a few states have them open, but I was just kind of looking for if there's any guidance or anything on potentially opening one.
Well, these have rolled out extremely glacially. But let me explain this for others. If you have a child who is classified as special needs, you are allowed to put aside up to $14,000 a year for his or her care into an account that can grow tax-free, and then the money is spent tax-free on eligible expenses for that child. And there's a pretty lengthy list of things for which that money can be spent. And it's specifically because parents worry a lot when a child with special needs grows older and they get older, who's going to be there to provide the support that their child will need? And that's where this has come about, because till this point, only the very, very wealthy have been able to afford very exotic trusts for this. And the 529 ABLEs make it possible for any family to set aside money that is treated as tax-free money for the benefit of their child. So in answer to your question today, there are just a handful of plans, and my favorite right now is the Tennessee plan. Have you seen that one?
I did look at their plan a little bit. It seemed like the expenses were just maybe a little bit high because I'm hoping that. Do you think that the expenses will come in line with like 529s, like, for example, Utah, which has a really good plan?
Right. So, yes, over time the expenses will likely come down, but considering where the 529 college savings plan started, this is already, the Tennessee plan for the Ables is already a mid-price plan.
Okay.
And so it's not terrible. The costs tend to be third of a point to two-thirds of a point in management expenses per year. And that is pretty reasonable for right out of the box. Now, when Utah gets involved, if they do a plan paralleling their 529 college savings plan, then odds are they'll be the gold standard on this one too. But I would feel comfortable at least starting in the Able Tennessee plan.
And do you think it'll be like 529 plans where I'd be able to transfer, like if Utah...
You're able to, if I remember right, you're able to transfer only once per year.
Okay.
So you'd be able to do that as I understand it. But if I'm wrong, the worst that would happen is you'd leave the money in the plan that you'd already contributed, and moving forward when there are lower cost plans available, you would do future contributions in the lower cost plans. But my memory is fuzzy on this, but I think you have the once a year right on this too.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your help, Clark.
All right, and best to you, and I hope that your son progresses quite nicely over the years.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Joanne is with us on the Clank Howard Show. Hello, Joanne.
Oh, good afternoon, Clark.
Hi, you are an author.
Well, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have you written one book or multiple books?
I've had 5 that had been published.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Keeps me out of mischief.
I'm curious, how many months does it take you to produce a book?
I usually work at more than one book at a time, so it can go on forever.
Oh, okay. Because I always have set a quota for myself, and that's 8 months to get a book started to finish.
You're a lot smarter than I am.
Oh, I don't know about that. I've got great co-authors. So how can I help you as an author?
Well, I received an email from a producer of audiobooks, and because I do belong to a couple of professional organizations that sometimes give us heads up on certain promotions, I checked into it. Well, I think it's sort of comparable to a very, very expensive vanity press. They offered to do 2 of my books for only $10,000.
What? What?
But because I would get 2 instead of just one book, I would get a 15% discount for $8,500.
You know that's outrageously expensive.
Well, you should hear what they want for 4 books.
How much?
It was, let me see, their offer was $16,250, and they'd give me a 20% discount for $13,000.
Wow.
And I'm assuming this is money up front. I mean,
yeah, this is something that in the organizations you're a member of, you should put out something that's not that you don't slam these people, but you slam the idea generically, that you let other authors know that they should not take the bait on this. Producing an audio book today is so easy because you can transcribe your own audio book today for free. And people generally, if it's your story you're sharing, they want to hear your voice. Or if you pay somebody to be the voice talent, you're going to pay them obviously a lot less than what these people are quoting. The hardest part with an audio book, if you do decide to do one, Joanne, is that you have to abridge your book. You have to give like a short story version of your book.
That is something that would be very difficult for me. I always have trouble doing the one paragraph thing that you're supposed to submit tell your whole story in one paragraph.
Oh. Well, it would be a very long audio book that you would be doing.
I don't think my voice would hold out that long.
Well, if you go on something like Fiverr or whatever, if you decided you wanted to do an audio book, you could hire a voice talent.
What is that, Fiverr?
Fiverr, FIVERR.com. And there are lots of people who now, with the equipment being so inexpensive, there are a lot more people available who can do voice work than there used to be. Mm-hmm. And you can hire somebody to voice one of your books, and you make it available as an audio book. And I would do one and see if it has a place in the marketplace before you would expend any more effort on doing another audio book or two.
Well, that's one of the things I wrote back to the editor after thinking about this, and I said, if, as an author, if a publisher doesn't want to invest his money in it, it's not worth investing his money in it. Why would I want to invest my money in it?
Well, you were so right, and that expense is obviously crazy that they were touting to you. Who knows? I don't know if I'm not familiar with the organization. I see their name. I don't know if it's a scam or anything like that. I can tell you it's a really bad deal. And continued success to you as an author, Joanne. It's time for Ask Clark, where you post a question at Clark.com, and Joel is you temporarily. So, Joel, who are you being right this second?
I'm being Linda. Should I talk like Linda would talk, do you think? Or no? We'll leave that alone.
Probably not.
Okay, all right. Not. Do you think charter schools should be funded by the U.S. government, Clark?
Well, education is funded by the states, and I love for charter schools to be funded by the states. And I think that charter schools are a great experimental outlet. I love all the homeschooling going on. I love the charter schools. I love the experimental things going on with vouchers, where kids from low-income families are able to go to private schools with basically a gift certificate that takes the money that would have gone to a school district, and they use it to shop for a private school. The one thing I don't believe in is assigning a kid to a school and saying, because you live on this street in this neighborhood, you go to this school, whether it's good or not. And one of the ways we can really improve mobility economically in the United States is to give kids, regardless of background, family income, family circumstances, a stab at a really good education. And so nobody knows exactly the right way to provide a good education to people who come from a tougher background. And so that's why experimentation like charters and vouchers, I think, are so valuable, because we don't know the best way to get it done.
All right, Clark. And Jennifer says, you've mentioned several times about hybrid mattresses, and you've talked about Casper, but you've also mentioned that your mattresses came from a different store and they were cheaper. Where did you get your mattresses?
So we bought from both Costco.com and from Sam's Club. And the mattresses from both have been great. In either case, if you don't like it, you take it back and you get a full refund. And the prices are really great for the mattresses. The whole mattress industry is going through a huge revolution.
Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans proudly supports this podcast. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage approval process into the 21st century. It's fast, powerful, and completely online. You see, Rocket Mortgage has taken all the complicated, time-consuming parts of applying for a mortgage out of the equation. Hate searching through stacks of old files and paperwork? Well, with Rocket Mortgage, you can easily share your bank statements and pay stubs at the touch of a button. It helps you get approved in minutes for a custom mortgage solution that's been tailored to your unique financial situation. Even better, with Rocket Mortgage, you can do all of this on your phone or tablet. It's a quick online process that you can manage from the convenience of your couch. So if you're looking to refinance your mortgage or buy a home, check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/save. That's quickenloans.com/SAVE. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030. Stay tuned for 60 seconds of AP News headlines right after this podcast.
Glad you're with us here on the Clank Howard Show, where it's about you being empowered with knowledge so you can save more and spend less. And don't let anyone ever rip you off. On the web, Clark.com, when you have a question, Clark.com/ask. We're going to talk. This keeps happening. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Medical offices are there to provide medical care. And when you fill out forms at an office, at a doctor's office, a lab, any kind of medical facility, surgical center, outpatient center, hospital, the forms dig deep. And they have extreme levels of information about you. But the security standards at doctors' offices, medical centers, and the rest are pathetic. It's not their area. I mean, they're practicing medicine. And so the risk of exposure of your personal information is intense. I've got a letter right here that one of our employees got from a big medical provider that said, patient care is at the center of our mission, and we take seriously the confidentiality of the patient information we hold. That's a good first sentence. We regret to inform you that we confirmed an unauthorized intrusion into our computer system, resulting in the theft of personal information on our patients. We found evidence indicating the personal information included your name, home address, email address, date of birth. In addition, your patient treatment codes, prescription records, and social security number may also have been taken. Now, this is the standard kind of letter that people get from medical facilities, hospitals, whatever, over and over again. And this will sound so standard. We're offering 1 year of free identity protection services. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Rule number 1 with medicine. Do not provide your social security number on the forms that you fill out at any medical center, hospital, surgical center, lab, doctor's office, whatever. Because the information on file coupled with your social security number is enough information for the criminals to engage in full and complete identity theft. Now, we have had repeatedly, after I've talked about this, people in the medical business who have written very, very unhappy Clark Stinks that they need that social security number to come after you with a bill collector if you don't pay your full bill to the doctor. Now, that is their business reason, but the risk is too high for you, and you should not provide it. In fact, any form anywhere, I always leave the section blank that calls for putting in social security number. I had something really bizarre recently. I was at a medical center, and they gave me a printout for me to mark any changes on my medical information. And what was staring me right in the face, and I don't know how they had it, but they had my social security number right there, the full thing, staring right at me on that form, even though I had never given it. So sometimes, even if you don't supply it, I don't know how they get it, but I want you to know, don't give it. Because medicine has enough else to worry about, and making sure that medical records are safe is so far down the priority list you can't even see it. So you can't protect the other stuff, but at least don't make it easy for the crooks by having your social security number there. Cindy's with us on the Clank Howard Show. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Clark. How are you today?
Great, thank you. You are doing something nice for your grandkids?
Yes, so I have two grandchildren, and one is a little bit older. He is 11, and the other one is 3. So what I would like to do is I would like to purchase stock for them, but I don't know what type of stock to buy for them. And I only have about $1,000 to invest in each one, so a total of $2,000. So could you recommend a good stock that I can purchase for them that will grow?
So most grandparents listening are like, only? I wish I had $1,000 for one of my grandkids. That's very generous of you.
Is it? You think?
Yeah, that's very generous.
Good, then that makes me feel good.
So I'm not into buying young children in individual stock.
Okay.
But what I do love for you to look at for buying a young child something is to look at something that the $1,000 you said fits perfectly.
Okay.
And that's buying something called the Vanguard Star Fund.
Vanguard. Okay.
Star, like, star in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Is what that is it's a single fund that diversifies the children's money over all different kinds of investments. So it lowers the risk, and over the years, the kids should do quite well with that.
Okay.
And your amount is so perfect since it's $1,000 minimum.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, because you'd be opening a custodial account for the benefit of the 11-year-old and 3-year-old, you can fill out the forms on the website, but you'll have to print them out and mail them in rather than being able to do the whole thing electronically. But you can open them each a custodial account and put the money in the star at Vanguard.com. And it's a real easy one-stop shop as a way to put money aside for the kids and not worry about, well, is this a good choice for them? Is it too much of this, too little of that? They handle that for you and widely diversify your $1,000.
So it would kind of grow on its own, and then I can, as an option, add to it if I want?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, the one thing is that when the kids reach the age of adulthood, which varies typically 18 or 21, at that point, they can do whatever they want to with the money.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for the information. I appreciate it.
Sure. And can I be one of your grandkids too?
Sure.
Okay. Have a great day. Stan is with us on the Clank Howard Show. Hello, Stan.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. You want to talk about being safe in your own home?
Yeah, I have an alarm system now, but it's monitored through my home phone, and I want to do away with that and go to a cell phone. And so I've heard about the Simply Safe alarm system, and so I thought, well, I listened to your show, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just ask you and see what you think about that.
I never, ever hear a complaint about Simply Safe.
Well,
and I should tell your fellow listener, they don't know how to spell there. It's SIMPLI, safe.com. But it's the monitoring per month with them is $15 a month. And the only thing is, you already have an existing alarm in your home.
Yes, I do, but I'm not on the contract. I own the alarm system,
all right,
and
so
I'm under no contract. And the only reason I could go to a cell phone with them, but my bill would go up $10 if I use my cell phone, which would make it $25 a month. And I was wanting to, like I said, Simply Safe was like $14.95 a month.
Yeah, so you pay $15, but see, then the $10 a month that you're saving, you're going to eat up some of that for a good while because you're going to have to pay for their equipment.
Right.
So how much would it cost you for the hardware that you're going to have to buy from them?
Well, they have different packages, and the one that I looked at that would work for me was going to be about $350. Oh,
so you'd make that up in less than 3 years?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would be. And then I could, and the other good thing about it is, I have a shop at my house, and it's not. I don't have an alarm system on it. If I added it to my current alarm system, then it's gonna, be even more. But with the Simply Safe, the distance of where I would have the base setting at, I could actually, include my shop and everything. So, for $14.95 a month.
Well, and I got to tell you, it's a self-install system that is very easy for you to do the install.
Right.
And you'll have it up and running in just a couple hours' time.
Right.
And so I think that's fine for you to go Simply Safe.
Okay, well, that's what I was wondering. I did a little bit of research, but like I said, I listen to your show all the time, and I thought, man, you give up. In fact, you came to Tulsa once, and we went to see you, and you always give out good advice. So I thought, well, I'll check with you and see what you think.
Well, you're so kind to say that, and I love coming to Tulsa. 5 years running, I've done a Habitat for Humanity home with my listeners and viewers in Tulsa. And it's been a great experience coming to Tulsa with Habitat.
Well, we appreciate you, and I thank you for your advice.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Okay.
So with the burglar alarm business, one rule, no matter who you go with, is you never, ever, without exception, you never sign a contract for monitoring. And the business operates on a principle of giving you a loss lead or a low price on the equipment to lure you in to a long-term contract on the monitoring at a cost well above what is a reasonable cost for monitoring, which is mid to high teens, typically no more than $20 a month. You'd have to have something really unusual to run it up any higher than $20 going on. But it's common in the contract-oriented part of the burglar alarm industry to lowball the equipment and then stick you for multiple years in an extremely high monitoring cost, $30, $35, even $40 a month, and you're their prisoner. Don't do it. Frank is with us on the Clank Howard Show. Hello, Frank.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, thank you. I understand you're about to have a new son.
Yes, I do. Yes, I will. I will adopt him next year.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you. My question is regarding saving for college for him. Because I'm not his guardian at this point in time, when can I start?
You can open a 529 account at any time, and there's a procedure that you can do. You have two ways to do this. You can either open a 529 account that you own and name yourself as a beneficiary and then, fund money into it. And then when your adoption goes through, you can change the beneficiary designation to your new son.
Okay.
Or as an alternative, even without you being legally related at this point, you can open a 529 account, you can own it, and name him as a beneficiary anyway.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to be related to someone.
Okay.
Anybody can open a 529 account for the benefit of any other person, related or not.
But what happens to the money if he doesn't make it to college?
So if you have money in a 529 and your child doesn't go to college, you can either, a lot of people will do this, change the beneficiary designation to themselves, and then they go to school, or B, change it to any other person. It could be a niece, a nephew, a neighbor's kid, a friend's kid, whatever, and then it remains completely a tax-free event. On the other hand, if college never enters into the picture and you want to spend the money, then what happens is all the earnings on it are taxed and there's a 10% penalty on top.
Okay.
So the way it works with the 529s is they smile on you all day long if they're used for an eligible college expense. but they frown big time on your wallet if they end up not being used for college.
And how much do you think should be a monthly contribution to the 529 plan?
The child you're adopting is how old?
13 years old.
Okay, so 13, so you're going to have 5 years or 6 years to fund college. Gosh, as much as you can afford, at least a few $100s a month if you can swing it in order to be able to defray college costs, because you just don't have as many years as somebody with a newborn does to build up that money. And good luck with your future son. Darren is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Darren.
Hey, Clark, how are you?
Great, thank you. You have a question for me I don't think I've been asked about in, gosh, maybe 3 years.
Oh, yeah? Well, my company has recently went to the ESOP program.
Employee Stock Ownership Plan.
Correct. I was wondering, because I contribute into a 401k plan now, should I stop doing that or continue to do that? Because when I retire, I'm basically going to be selling my shares back to the company.
You and anybody else there wants to continue to do the 401k as well as receive the benefits of the ESOP. Because the thing is, with the ESOP, you then have everything tied into this employer. So if the company, let's say, unfortunately doesn't do well, and you've tied everything in to the employer stock, then it crashes and burns as you maybe are getting to the point that you hope to retire. Right. So it makes it too much a gamble and gives you too high a level of risk. So I think it's a much better idea for you, Darren, to look at doing both.
Okay.
Do you have to put in any money in the ESOP, or is it just granted to you for time of employment?
Just granted for the time of employment.
So it's not like I'm going to net out less money in your check by getting you to continue to do the 401k.
Right.
So I would encourage you and anybody else who asks you where you work, I would encourage them as well to keep saving in the employer plan, the 401k, in addition to having the ESOP.
Okay.
Best to you. I hope you end up with more money than you ever know what to do with.
That's the plan. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Clark Howard Podcast. Download new episodes every Monday through Friday at podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com. Stay tuned for the latest AP News headlines from Podcast One right after this.
AP Update, I'm Ross Simpson. The New York Times has published interviews with two women who claim they were touched inappropriately by Donald Trump without their permission. He denies it. In the meantime, Trump's daughter-in-law told a rally in Albany, New York today the release of his tape vulgarities is an intentional distraction.
Do we really think that that tape was just discovered on Friday? Please. We all know what's going on there. We're smart people.
Laura Trump says the tape does not reflect who the Republican presidential nominee is.
It's an 11-year-old tape. This is not the man that I know, and, you know, it's unfortunate that it keeps getting brought up.
Trump says her father-in-law is a fighter and voters will have his back on Election Day.
What I know is that he has the country's best interest at heart, and I think that millions and millions of Americans still understand that. So regardless of what he puts on Twitter, what comes out in any tapes, I think you will still see people backing him fully.
AP Update, I'm Ross Simpson.